Yeah. Welcome to the
Welcome back.
Wrinkled. Yeah. Welcome to the Wrinkled Podcast, episode 10. My name is Morgan. This gentleman to my right is Hunter. And, we got some juicy stuff to talk about today. First
Let's,
off, the Mario movie just came out.
yes.
So what do you think about that?
I have not seen it yet. Um, Usually that's and I think this is you know, because I feel like this is a movie like I would take my niece to go see,
Mhm.
but she's older and she's like, I don't want to watch that. I'm like, well, I'll probably wait for it to come to like on demand or Blu-ray or something like that.
Mhm.
Not a problem. You know, um, but I was looking at the numbers. Like how much it was pulling in, and like it was it's close to hitting 1 billion here. I think it might either today it might hit it or tomorrow might hit it.
It's destroying,
Yeah,
bro.
it is a monstrous like property, and I'm like that's crazy. But then you think about it and you go, well, it's a video game. It's the most well-known video game character of all time, one of the most beloved video game characters of all time. Like it makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
but
everybody who sees it, like if you showed them a picture, they'd be like, oh, Mario.
yeah, it's Mario.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that got me thinking about video game adaptations in general, you know, because I think the last big successful video game adaptation movies were the Sonic the Hedgehog movies.
Yeah.
Um, Neither of which I have not seen either. So I'm not gonna claim to know like anything about them story wise or like
Mhm.
any type of knowledge about the movies in general, but I know they did pretty damn well. Um, and I feel like they got a lot of credit when they went and changed the design, which I
Oh,
think is
yeah.
dope. Because obviously, Cursed Sonic is a nightmare and a half, and I love it because Sonic has always been like a meme.
Let me show you.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Well, to be fair, that's Knuckles.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
you. Yes, Ugandan
Yeah.
Knuckles. VR chat Ugandan Knuckles. um,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, it's very memey in like the best way possible. Um, but it also is they're good. You know what I'm saying? And like I don't think I think we're at the point now where like they can finally start looking at video game movies again as profitable ventures.
Yeah.
Um
One thing I haven't seen either of the Sonic movies, but one
mhm,
thing that really gets me about how well they did is with Mario, it's all animated.
yeah.
But with Sonic, it's the animation mixed with live action.
Mhm.
And to me that speaks a lot about how well they must have done. Like, okay, again, Mario, you can if you're animating the entire thing, you can do a lot more with it. It's kind of like I don't know, anime.
Yeah.
There's so much they can do because it's all animated.
Yeah, fights and
Yeah, whereas if you
whatever
tried to do that
else.
live action, it'd probably be garbage. And so the fact that they were able to kind of marry those two ideas with Sonic says a lot.
Yeah. And again, I think Sonic benefits from like that real world feel to it. You know what I'm saying? Cuz like at least with Mario like when you look at Mario you go, "Man, what the hell is this dude doing?" It's like, "Oh, he's jumping through pipes and he's riding the dinosaurs and whatever." Like these are fairly like non-daily life shit.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, in Sonic, it's just like a couple loops and
And
a
I was
couple.
running.
Yeah. It's just like it's very minor. Like so, it works well with like that real life like aesthetic to it. Um, but yeah, and like I think it's funny because the only reason I even thought about this was because I watched I watched the Doom movie with The Rock and Carl Urban and um again I personally love that movie. I know it's not everybody's like I know it's a bad movie. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like whatever, like especially a bad video game movie. I know it's terrible and like I'm not sitting here trying to like, you know, say it's the best thing ever, but I was recently rewatching that cuz I recently got it. I got it on Blu-ray because they did a re-release. I thought it was the 20th anniversary, but it wasn't. It was a couple years off, like 3 years off, whatever. But I
Okay.
think they just re-releasing it for whatever. But um, I was like, I haven't watched this movie in like a couple of years. Like, I'll give it a watch, and I'm
Wait,
like,
The
dude,
Rock is in
like,
that?
yeah, yeah. And he actually, this is when he was like
Oh,
not
yeah, 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 yeah.
not the biggest like action or like movie star. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I think this was like his maybe third movie, a big movie. I want to say.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
and this is before he like got that massive ego on him, so he was willing to like get punched and like he actually turns
Lose a
into
fight.
yeah, yeah,
I can't, dude. Hearing that, I can't. Uh,
I mean, no, I can believe it. I know what you're gonna say. I can believe
it's
you know.
I don't.
So the
You really think that's just an ego thing? Because I feel like there has
one
to be
hundred
more to it.
percent. No, I don't. Listen, I don't. I think this man thinks he's the hottest shit in the planet, and he feels like he can do whatever he wants. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly how I feel, and I am 100% it being an ego thing.
The
You know?
shitty thing about that is that's circulated around the internet
Yeah,
that his contract is I can't lose a fight.
yeah, yeah.
Now, going forward in a movie with The Rock, if there's ever any sort of confrontation, oh, he's going to be fine.
Exactly. So
S-
the level of suspense is now even less believable.
Right. And
Um,
I feel like that's eliminating a lot for him because let's say, again, if it is an ego thing, oh, I can't show any weakness or whatever. Usually, some of the best character stories are characters that go through something traumatic or some sort of suffering,
mhm.
lose, and then redeem themselves somehow, like that full circle journey of, going through this. Maybe they lose, then maybe they lose again. Luke Skywalker lost twice
Yeah.
and then finally came around to win in the end.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, man.
Like I said,
That's,
it's a very shitty way of making a movie, man.
yeah,
It's like how now, like you said, moving forward, how interesting can his movies be? You know. Um,
that
what
sucks.
was it? What was I saying?
I'm so sorry, man. Doom.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. So it has uh one of my favorite movie sequences of all time.
I
Which
believe
okay,
I know. I'm pretty sure I know what you're about to say, but go ahead.
yeah, yeah. So story wise, it is nowhere near to the Doom. It's nowhere near the games at all. They're not demons. They're like genetically modified. Like so,
They look a little more realistic in terms of what you could do in a lab.
yeah, yeah. Um, but like so, it's not. That's the funny part. It's not even that. I guess there's like this like I forget what they. I literally just watched and I forget what the hell they talking about because that shit made zero sense to me. Um, but it was like essentially it gave you an extra chromosome, right? And they discover these remains on Mars and like they're talking about like, oh, she has higher bone density. She was smarter, she was stronger, she was, uh she could heal injuries extremely fast and whatever. And you go, oh man, that sounds dope, right? But then you go, this isn't anything like Doom, you know?
Right.
Because like as we know, Doom, portal gets open to hell, demons spill out, kill the demons that come out of the portal, close the portal.
Right.
Basis of most of the games.
It's all fictional. It's all they don't try to scientifically tie into it.
No, exactly, and like it and this is and going back to video game movies, this is the problem where like they feel like they have to take liberties because like oh we can't just do it like how the games do it, right?
Mhm.
You know, but then I go that shit would be a
Amazing.
thousand times better if it was just like the game, you know.
Yep.
But they show off like some of like the like there's like obviously like a bunch of technology and shit because obviously they're on Mars doing scientific experiments and whatnot. So yeah, and like obviously they're on Mars. Like I don't I believe we get because I'm thinking the original Doom it was like Phobos Station if I remember correctly was the the name of like the place you end up starting off.
Mhm.
If I don't remember, but I don't remember this place's name. But um, so it's not demons, it's not whatever. It's just like, and the kicker, and you don't get this until like the last half hour of the movie. The Carl Urban's sister's character, I forget her name in the movie, Kate, I think, or something.
Mhm.
Um, she goes, "Well, what if they're only attacking people who are bad?" And I go, "What the? I completely forgot about that shit." So the ones that are more demon looking, like evil looking, whatever, they will only attack people who are bad because they go by your like genetic marker and traits of like, oh, you're more likely to be a sociopath or some shit like that. That's why like only the characters who were attacked and trying to be turned over were like kind of aware of it. Like the first dude they kill, he's like he looks normal, right? But then he curses and he says,
Mhm.
"God damn it." And he stops and he takes out a knife and like cuts across in his arm and you go, "Oh, this dude's not right in the head," you know.
Interesting.
And they make it a point in a little bit after the fact in noting that he kind of comes back, to life because he's been infected or whatever. This thing,
Right.
the movie makes it a point to show you like this thing sticking the tongue in his neck and then like infecting him,
Mhm.
but also him coming back to life and killing himself because he knew he was turning. Because after
Interesting.
he's like dead, quote unquote, and then they put him on the table. He wakes up like a little bit later in the movie and like bashes his head against the wall to kill himself because he knew he was turning and he didn't want to be that.
Right.
Um, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, that's interesting.
Hmm.
Um, but
You were talking about your favorite part.
yeah, yeah. So my favorite part of that whole movie is Carl Urban's character. His name is Jonathan Grimm, I think. His code name is Reaper because of course it is. Uh,
Gotta make it
but
sound badass.
yeah, yeah. But so his sister, he's about to die. He was like shot. He's about to die. His sister gives him uh that like dose of that extra chromosome or whatever
Mhm.
because she knows it's going to make him good, right? So this is our first intro to the Doom guy officially, like canon wise, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
uh if any of you guys are unfamiliar with who the Doom guy is, he's just who we know as the Space Marine from Doom. um like I said, he's just been around. He's a threat to all demons, all non-humanoid threats and shit like that. Like canonically, he is unstoppable. Like I believe in the in lore universe, he's like he can never be beat.
It's like
His
if you dropped Master Chief. That's
oh, it's
that's kind of what he's like. When you play
it's
as
worse
him,
than that.
I mean, that's how
Um,
it feels though. This big
yeah, yeah,
armored, muscly, just
yeah.
unstoppable, you know?
But yeah, like in the story, like canon, he can never be beat. He was like a gift from like the angels or some shit to yeah, it's a whole thing. I'm very vague on the lore.
Mhm.
Um,
I'm sure there's a ton of it.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, they specifically talk about him being like just unbeatable and like super strong and all kinds of shit like that, obviously. But like so Carl Urban's character, Reaper, he wakes up and we see him from the first person perspective, you know.
Yep. I've
And
I've seen that part.
yeah, again, it is one of my favorite in any movie, like in any movie. It's just such a unique um like look at like how this works, you know. Like I said, we don't get a lot of good first person sequences in movies, but this one just does it so well, man, you know.
That I saw that when I watched that part, I said, okay, this is like I could see it watching it. I'm like, this is the part of the movie where someone would get that nostalgia hit
Yeah.
because it
Um
launches into that again, like FPS,
yeah,
perspective, and
and
you're like, oh my god,
yeah, and we're seeing like how smart he is, like his tactical thinking, his mindset, obviously his strength and shit like that. Like we're getting all these story elements told through us just visually.
Hmm.
Nobody's saying anything. There's no exposition and all like that. It's just uh we're being shown just through the actions, and I'm like, I love that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I love that so much.
Yeah, it's nice when they do either in shows or TV where they do storytelling about characters, especially when they're in groups.
Yeah.
So like, if you have a more veteran character in whatever role they're playing, you'll see maybe they walk a certain way, maybe they carry themselves or their weapons a certain way, and then they
Hmm.
have like the more novice kind of newbie doing his things like by the book, and you can see the difference in like, oh, I have more experience, so I know to do this instead.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned like the rookie because there is a like a new guy that just got inducted to this team. I guess I forget his name.
Hmm.
Uh, but we first get the notification that like, oh, they're gonna be they have to respond to like an incident on this Mars base or whatever. So they're supposed to have like their weekend vacation or whatever, but that got canceled. And the rookie's like not really saying anything. You're like, oh, well, he's a rookie. He wouldn't know any better. But then they go and do their suit up sequence,
Hmm.
where it's like they get their guns, and that's where we get all like their code names and shit. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. But so it's so funny you mentioned that because the rookie gets his guns right, and he's picking up the guns. It goes code name, and it goes rookie, and he goes rookie, but he's holding his two pistols out like a Kimbo style. I'm like, oh my god. Like it's such a fucking like and like while meanwhile everyone else is like just chilling and they're getting like suited up and they get prepared and shit. They're not really phased by anything. Meanwhile here's this new guy like holding up these pistols like a Kimbo style. Oh, rookie, it's like what do you expected here, man? Um I love that shit. Like to me that is what's funny as hell with like these video game adaptations. Instead of like sticking true to the
Oh,
source or whatever, they have to like, and I'm sure this was something like maybe The Rock asked for, but it has to be like machoified and all kinds of shit.
yeah.
I'm like, I love that, man. That shit's so funny to me.
Now I want to go finish Doom Eternal because I still
Oh,
haven't beaten it
oh,
yet.
dude, Doom Eternal's so good, man.
Yeah, maybe I might play that after this.
It is a work of art.
Mm.
Like realistically, it's so good. It's super fun, super tense, and obviously the music is fantastic. The gameplay is a 10 out of 10. Like it's such a fun game.
It is super fun. Like it's high, it's fast paced. Oh yeah, Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
I don't have that
Um,
downloaded. What am I doing with my life?
um, but then I look at the World of Warcraft movie, the one from like a couple years ago, like 2015 or whatever the hell it
I
was.
never saw it.
I only saw bits, pieces of it, not the whole thing.
Hmm.
Um, but like meanwhile, that is just like super high budget, super high production value. Um, you know, it is like I think they should have continued making movies for this, but I know obviously I don't think it did as well as I expected. I got the numbers up now. So it had a budget of 160 million
Okay.
and it made 439 million in the box office. And like obviously that return is that's not great. You know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
mean, it's not the worst it could be,
No,
but yeah, that's definitely not like a huge feat,
but
like
like
comparatively.
yeah. And then you have something like that where it is only there is no deviation of like story with that. It is only um like from the movie or from the game.
Right.
There's no liberties, there's no whatever. It's strictly story from the game. And I go, this is where maybe a little liberty could be good, you
Hmm.
know, because the story for World of Warcraft is so dense. There's so many names and there's so many locations and there's so many people involved or whatever. I'm like, you could have like taken some liberties, you know,
Right.
and maybe changed a little bit. But I do give him credit for sticking as good as they could to the original story as much as possible.
Yeah.
I do like that. So
I
um,
haven't. God, I need to watch all of these. I think I'll
eh,
probably watch Doom first, just because
listen,
I've
man.
seen clips.
Yeah, and it's such a like it's not a good movie. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like it's not good by any stretch of the imagination. It is enjoyable though. And
I
to
get
me
it.
that is
I so I think we talked a little bit about like guilty pleasures like a while ago, and I
mhm.
couldn't really think of like any movie guilty pleasures. And then I recently again watched through like Pitch Black, Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh, they're so good.
And they're so good, and I don't know in terms of ratings if they. I'm pretty sure they did pretty poorly, but
I believe so as well.
I love even the newer one that was made in like 2018.
Hmm.
Dude, I watched all of them. I love those movies. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is. It's what's oh god, what's the actor's name?
Oh, Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. He does Riddick so well.
Mm.
Eh, I don't know what it is, but just seeing again these fantasy worlds, these aliens, and then him just being like 10 steps ahead of all these humans who think, oh, we're gonna catch this guy, we're gonna kill him. It's like, no,
Yeah.
he's already predicted what you're gonna do. He's laid traps for that. He's gonna kill it. It just works.
Mm.
I don't regret ever watching any of them.
No. I remember watching those when I was younger,
Hmm.
and just not really understanding too much, and then came back and rewatched them maybe like a couple years later, like eight, or maybe probably about 10 years later or so, and just having a different respect for it. Because, like you said, Vin Diesel does do such a good job at like selling that character, even though we know nothing about him from like um like the only thing we know about him is that he's a
A Furion.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have his eyesight. He's like high physicality wise, like super high like endurance and stamina
Yeah, I
and
did some I
strength and
did some
shit.
lore checking. The
Yeah.
species is just known for like take humans and then multiply everything.
Hmm.
Better strength, better stamina,
Yeah.
like senses, instincts. Everything was like human but better. And then the eyesight again, they just everything came from living on a harsh planet,
Yeah.
so they
You
had
know,
to adapt.
subject to extreme conditions,
Right.
it kind of makes you a little different. Um, but yeah, like it is super interesting in that fact because what we're told is only shown in like a 2 hour movie,
Right.
you know. But we feel like we know so much, and like they do a good job at explaining like this guy's mannerisms and his characteristics and his quirks and his little whatever. Like the job is done so well, and I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I really like when they do good adaptations of shit.
They do a good job of making him seem like such a beast.
Yeah.
Because I mean, think of Pitch Black. It's the first after they crash and establish like they show him chained up. The dude dislocates both shoulders
Mm,
to get out of his like where he's handcuffed,
yeah.
and then pops them back in, and it's like that's insane. And you automatically establish, okay, this is someone who's willing to do anything to survive,
Hmm. Exactly.
and
Now you're yeah. You
it's
know,
so good.
I do need to give those a rewatch,
One
man.
thing I really enjoy, and it kind of makes sense with the story as well, is in the second one, Chronicles of Riddick. He
Mm,
gets after he escapes his initial capture by the necromongers, he
yeah.
gets captured by that merc who was after him,
Yeah.
and he's on the ship, and they're in whatever stasis or whatever the thing is.
Mm,
They've got their arms injected with all the stuff, kind of sleeping until they get to the planet. And the movie is him monologuing, like narrating, like, oh,
yeah.
normally I'd slip out of these chains and open up a few arteries, but why drive when you can get driven? And it's the movie just him narrating.
Mm,
And to me, I love that because one, it gives a little insight into how he's thinking, But it also plays into most of the time Riddick is alone. So he would kind of talk to himself.
Oh
He
yeah,
would, have that inner monologue of, oh, this is what I'm doing. This is what's going on. This. And even in the newer adaptation, it's him talking about, I grew soft. Why didn't I see this coming? Why were they able to get the drop on me? I need to find that inner animal again. And I love that because he is alone. There's nobody else. So he would kind of have that talk with himself.
yeah. Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah,
God, I
I,
love those
I guess
movies.
that's fair. But and I think somebody like Vin Diesel does would I feel like he could be the only person who could realistically do that and it be good. You know,
Yeah.
um, like I said, because he understands kind of how it works. Like I say, he's big into D&D, and he was like a theater major in college, and I think he did a lot of theater stuff in high school as well. So he understands like the importance of telling a story without direct, you know, exposition. And like I said, I think he does a really good job at that. And like I said, those movies they're treasures, man. They're just so good.
Yeah.
And I hope, you know, I know the games are good too.
I
I don't know if
haven't
you
played the games.
Escape from Butcher Bay, man.
Damn. See,
That shit is so good.
I just watched the newer ish one a while ago, and
Mm.
I told Abby, I'm like, I want them to make one of these every couple of years. I could always watch these. I don't even care. It could be the same recycled, stuck on this planet, escaping this. Like, I don't know what it is, but the formula they have for these is so good.
They work, man.
Yeah. I love them. They're so good. And now I'm downloading Dune.
There you go.
And
Get
yeah,
you a little treat, man.
yeah, man. I gotta watch that movie. And oh man,
Hey,
I
because
love it.
and I hate the fact that when I think of video game adaptations, I think of bad movies,
Yeah. There's
or
been so
bad TV
many.
shows. Fucking Halo.
Oh my
Um,
God. Somebody, yeah, we were, what was it? We were somewhere and somebody's like, oh, have you seen the Halo TV show? I heard it was so good. I'm like, you heard wrong. Like, it does everything wrong. And to be fair, if you watched it never having heard of Halo, I'm not sure. But as somebody who knows Halo, it is the definition of complete trash.
like I said, man, I think it's just they feel like it needs to be different. You know what I'm saying? They feel like it cannot be successful if it's not different.
And this is again why we talked about this too. I'm like, if any of these studios or any director or whatever, they're going to make an adaptation, they need to bring on a team of like 10 actual gamers who can, articulate themselves thoroughly
Yeah.
and say, okay, maybe you're a big, you know, YouTuber in the community and you talk to a lot of people, maybe or maybe you're this and whatever. What do people like specifically about this game? And it's like part of what made Master Chief so great is he didn't need to take off his helmet for you to see his emotion.
Exactly. I'm like, man, you guys are really just like you're going against everything that we have come to understand about Halo. I'm like, you guys are stupid and you suck.
Yeah.
You know,
And I mean, even in like the fights, they oh.
I heard the fights were good.
So they were
You know,
decent, but in one of them, he's fighting two of the other Spartans, and he's only wearing his Mjolnir armor. He's not
mm.
wearing the outer green armor.
I
But
see.
I guess they didn't do their research and figure out that the Mjolnir is the under armor, not the actual green plating.
Yeah,
So
that's the Mark IV.
they're overpowering him, and he's like seeming weaker, like significantly. And
Mm.
it's like you realize it's the gray suit that's the Mjolnir. So he shouldn't be struggling with them. Like,
Interesting. I haven't. I think I watched the first episode because it was free on YouTube. I want to
yeah, I
say.
watched I watched the first one as well, and then he took his helmet
Uh,
off, and I went, "What?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, well, there goes everything I ever wanted about this to be any good, you know?
And maybe it says a lot that it was Paramount, because if it was HBO who
Yeah.
took it, it would have been great.
Mhm.
Uh, Hopefully,
Like I said,
The
man.
Last of Us shows other studios that,
Yeah.
okay, you can make slight changes in stuff that didn't matter. Bill's episode. Bill was a small part of the game in general,
Mhm.
so it didn't matter. But like when it comes to the stuff that matters, when it comes to the big stuff, they didn't change Joel, they didn't change Ellie, they didn't change anything huge. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, hopefully that's a,
Yeah.
hey, this is how things need to be. This is
Like
this
I
is
said,
how you do it right.
yeah. And the unfortunate situation I think happens a lot of times is they get a director who I don't even know who directed the Halo show.
Me neither.
Um, but like they feel like they have to change it and it has to be okay. The guy's name was Otto Bathurst.
Never heard of him.
Me neither. Um, but like they feel like they have to change so much and do these big changes and I'm like, no, it just has to be good,
Yeah.
you know. Oh, okay. So this guy's record, he directed that movie Robin Hood, the 2018 one with
Egerton.
yeah, Taron Egerton, Jamie
Never watched it.
Foxx. Me neither. He did television. He did something called Urban Gothic.
Never heard of it.
That sounds familiar. I'm not sure though. 2003, he did Teachers. And these are only episodes, by the way. He's never done full seasons.
Right.
Only episodes. 2005 was Hustle. Then after that, he did 5 Days, a couple episodes of Criminal Justice.
Mm-hmm.
He did one episode of Black Mirror, 3 episodes of Peaky Blinders, uh, a show called Hysteria, which never even aired, apparently, is what it says here. Um, he worked on that show, His Dark Materials, and he did Halo eventually.
Okay, I know his Dark Materials.
Yeah. So I feel like they came in. It's like, well, it's got to be different, right? We can't just tell the story of the game. I'm like, but that's exactly what you do, you know, and you get
Yeah.
people interested in the game and the character for what he is and what he represents, and not just like this weird shit. I'm like, God, you guys they're just out of touch, man. And I hate it.
I
You
feel like
know,
it was like a meeting, like, oh, let's do a Halo show. Oh, you know how he's never taken off his helmet? What if first episode he takes it
yeah,
off?
exactly.
It's like, come
Um,
on. Oh,
but I know also just recently, man. Like a lot of the big Halo people from back in the day, like people who used to work for Bungie back in the day,
mhm.
um, they like ended up leaving Microsoft not too long ago. Like Bonnie Ross, I think Frank O'Connor, like the two
Damn.
big names attached with it. I'm like, because Halo's been in the dumps for years now, man. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy to think about. Like you have such a stone cold like first 3 games, and then Reach, and then even ODST, and it's just like Halo 4, garbage. Halo 5, garbage. Halo Infinite, garbage. I'm
Yep.
just like, man, you guys are just shitting the bed,
I
huh?
remember Infinite's multiplayer beta dropped.
Oh man.
And it's like, okay, it's got like potential. Hopefully the story's good.
Hmm.
And it's like, hey, let's take what everybody loved and make it open world and make all these different changes. It's
Yeah, I feel like it could
like,
work,
oh,
just not with Master Chief.
right.
I think if it was any other Spartan or any other Spartan team or whatever, I feel like it could be a little bit different. But I feel like with Master Chief, man, I don't know. I feel like his story needs to be just a little more singular.
Yeah, I don't know. I think personally, like, the sign of a good game is one where I shut it off, and then the next day I wake up and think about, oh God, I can't wait to get done with work so I can hop back in.
Uh,
And I never had that feeling.
no.
Wasn't even close. I'm like, oh yeah, I can't wait to hop back into Halo Infinite. It's just
Yeah, I played every single Halo game, Halo Wars included, Spartan Assault
Oh,
included.
love Halo Wars.
I have not touched Halo Infinite, and I don't feel like I should.
Yeah.
You know,
I
I
hopped
just
in for a little while, and it's just again, I haven't finished it. There was no draw.
yeah. So I think that's a problem, man. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
so hopefully
unfortunate.
they get these people out of Microsoft and start making good games again because it's definitely fucking needed.
Yeah, I agree. One can hope.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I know it's not directly on them, but I feel like they play a pretty big part in
yeah.
kind of like the direction and the production and shit. So
We shall see.
I just hope
Uh,
we get more good video game adaptations, man. Like I said, with especially with Last of Us being as popular as it was, and um, I feel like there's should be some movies and TV shows that are on deck that I feel like should be pretty good too.
they better give God of War to HBO. I swear.
I think I picked up by Amazon if I remember correctly.
All right. Well, at least they have the budget.
Yeah,
So, and yeah. Oh man, I feel like that's gonna be tough for live action, especially like combat, like the blades.
yeah,
That's
they'd
gonna
have to
be
be
really tough.
yeah they'd have to be on point. You know.
Yeah. But I mean, again, they've got the budget, so
Yeah, I know they also picked up the Blade Runner 2099 show as well.
ooh,
So that
okay,
should be
okay,
uh
cool.
that should be interesting.
Well, I'm about to go cook a big rack of ribs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
gonna
me a
be
good
good.
rack. And also ribs.
Oh man, well this was good.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Let us know down below. Is
Yeah,
there
how do you
any?
feel about a giant mega corporation taking over the Blade Runner TV show
Yeah,
that's anti-corporation pretty much 100% of the time? Tell me how you feel about that.
maybe that's the big
Because
joke. They're like, haha, you get it?
I'm sure fucking Jeff Bezos is creaming in his fucking panties thinking about that shit.
What do you think about video game adaptations? What's
Yes.
your favorite guilty pleasure?
Tell me why Doom is your favorite movie.
Hey man, I said I want comments, not zero comments.
I mean, they could disagree.
That's
Or
true.
or the or the Tomb Raider movies. What about Blood Rain?
Ooh,
What do
wait,
you feel
wait.
about
The
Blood
original
Rain?
Tomb Raider or the remakes?
Well, the I was talking about the movies, the ones with Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, no, but they also did a remake Tomb Raider.
Oh, that's right. I
Yeah,
forgot
yeah,
about
yeah.
that. I have not watched that.
So, ooh, I forgot about those. Like
Interesting.
the Angelina Jolie ones. Yeah, those are.
Yeah, those are pretty good. They had Blood Rain. They
Ooh,
had They did
yeah.
Hitman.
Oh, that's
Uh,
right. Hitman. Wow. Yeah, they've done a lot. Yeah, tell us what your favorite is, even if it's
I mean,
bad. You know what?
yeah, mine's Doom. It'll always be Doom. But yeah,
Video
it's
game adaptation? I don't know. I'll have to like rewatch some. I'll watch Doom. I'll see. I don't know.
yeah, it's one of those things, man. That you feel like should be better by now, but it's
Mhm.
not.
Yeah,
And that makes me hurt.
yeah.
So
It's once they get it, like, oh yeah, people love the source material for a reason.
mm,
So let's, you know,
yeah, that's
make
why I'm glad The Last of Us is pretty canonically like just sticking to the show.
so
Like all
good.
that.
Uh,
Yeah,
yes.
I definitely got to finish that up too.
Yeah. And then, well, maybe he'll be finished with that next time we have one of these. Talk
Maybe.
about that. Yeah. Everyone have a great weekend. Have a great week. Happy Monday.
Yes.
Or, I don't know, Wednesday, Thursday when you see this.
Whenever this goes up.
Yeah. And again, go down there and comment. Tell us what your favorite bad movie is, even if it's not
Y-
a video game adaptation.
Yes.
Love to hear
Please
it.
do. I love good bad movies.
Yeah. And we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.